Hi, I'm Satalic.
It's Isabella.
I'm Kelly.
And I'm Margie, and you're listening to
Screams on Screen.
So, guys, have you ever had an imaginary friend?
Oh, about that.
Not really. Well, emphasis on the not really.
Not really.
Because like I had one imaginary friend when I was a kid. Like I knew it wasn't real, but I would always say, "Oh, Casper the Ghost is here with me doing this."
What's with you and Casper the Ghost?
I don't know.
No, for real. Last
No,
time
Casper.
I think you brought it up in last episode.
Wait, which episode was that?
They're gonna have to find out by watching them.
Yeah. If you want to hear more about Casper the Ghost, then go to our other episodes.
Yeah. Oh, you're like obsessed with Casper. You have a crush on him?
Says you.
You have a crush on Casper?
But I think I know who you do.
That's crazy.
No.
That's not even the topic.
But let's get back
guys.
to the topic,
Yeah.
guys. Let's get back to
I
it.
had imaginary friends.
You did?
Yeah, but like obviously you know they're fake, but like it's fun having imaginary friends.
So you would just run around in your apartment.
Yeah.
Have you
Like-
ever seen like kids draw like their family and then their imaginary friend with their
Oh.
Wait, what?
like they draw really like their family and it's like really creepy.
Oh yes,
because they
that's
put
creepy.
an extra person on there and it's
like
yeah.
like Slender Man.
vacancy.
It's kind of eerie because like I don't know, there's something off about it.
And imagine they're saying, oh, they're like in the basement. You know, that's where they chill.
Just in the that kid is sending. He's out. I don't care
Bro's
how
getting
much
out
I
of
love
there.
that kid. He's being sent to a foster home.
That's crazy work.
Yeah.
I'm setting up for clubs after school as much as you're not in the house.
Yeah. This kind of reminds me of that doll. I forgot. It was Chucky, where like I think they had like a doll and then the girl was like trying to like help the doll. Like she thought it was like a friendly doll, but it wasn't.
Like from our past episode where we talked about
Oh, you're right. That doll.
we talked about the doll in your house.
What was his name again?
I don't think you said the name, but you explained the story.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the doll. Oh, now I know. It was a doll in my house, and like I was.
They're gonna have to find out the story from the
Let's
episode.
not spoil the story
Right.
again.
Just go watch
Subscribe.
it.
Yeah.
Like
But this actually reminds me of something. You guys know FNAF?
Oh,
okay.
Like FNAF, it stands for, if you guys don't know, Five Nights at Freddy's. It's kind of like a horror, like a series of horror games. And in the fourth game, there's kind of like there's this like the lore is like there's this kid in the bedroom and he's like trying to like not let the animatronics come in, but they're actually imaginary.
Wait, isn't it the fifth one?
Now, it's the fourth game?
Is it the one with the closet in the front?
Yeah, the closet in the front. They're all imaginary.
But like, I don't know if you guys watched the second movie, but it's like, or the movies in general, they're like more imaginary friends than animatronic.
Right. Yeah. I can't remember the first movie too well, but I think it was something with like they weren't real, right?
Yeah, like it was the little girl's imaginary friends instead of being haunted and stuff.
Did you
I
ever
haven't
watch
watched it.
Oh.
So,
You don't have.
What about
any-
you, Margie?
What?
You don't have any experience in imaginary friends.
No. I was actually pretty scared of having imaginary friends. If anybody told me if
but
they had a
do you have
friend.
a story?
Story time.
Story time.
We love stories, guys.
Wait.
So amazing. This first story is by Gangsterish on Reddit. Closest thing I've ever had to an imaginary friend that I could think of. Same post from another thread, just updated with current age. I've been living in the same house I grew up my entire life. When I was little, around 5 or 6, I used to sleep in my parents' room because I was scared to sleep alone in my room. One night, I woke up and there was a man sitting in the corner wearing all black with a shaved head, big eyes, sad mouth, and big ears. He just stood there looking at me from the corner with his hands in his pockets. I closed my eyes out of fear and drifted off to sleep. I wake up again in about 15 to 20 minutes later, and the man is now standing at the foot of my bed looking at me. His face was expressionless and kind of sad. I remember feeling scared and sad at the time. I closed my eyes again. Gosh, I can't read. I closed my eyes again, and when I opened them, he was gone. When I was around 8, I started calling him Mr. Man. This would happen about 2 times a week, every week, until I turned 11. I started to sleep in my room, my own room, at about the age of 9. Embarrassing, I know. And Mr. Man would always still show up. However, when I turned 15, he stopped. This was around the time that my grandfather, Sammy, passed away at the time. And at the time, I thought the two were connected. I remember telling my mom about what had been going on shortly after the funeral, maybe a couple days to a week. And she had taken me to a therapist and get evaluated and all that BS. And all that they found out is that I had high ADD and ADHD. No signs of schizophrenia, which my mom was very scared of, as my father's mother was a paranoid schizophrenic. I wouldn't see Mr. Man for about another 4 years. When I turned 18, though, I started noticing weird things happening around the house. The TV would turn on, or the volume would change rapidly. Doors would open and close, and I noticed our animals started to act weird. My dog, Flower, would bark at the hallway every now and then, or she would get up from my bed and stare at the door with her ears perked up. Our cats would get puffed up out of nowhere and hiss at nothing. I would hear footsteps walking by my room in the middle of the night. I thought it was my dad walking. I need to stop.
Just casually. I need to stop,
So
guys.
let's take a break for Margie.
Stop.
So it's giving
Oh my
Slender Man
God.
though.
When it gets to animals reacting
It
to
was
things,
the skinwalk. Oh wait, the
What?
skinwalkers, like the
not the way I was going, but okay.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, but like when she was talking about Mr. Man, that was
Mr.
giving
Man.
me like and he was bald.
My
that
dad.
Was giving me flashbacks.
Like, what's my dad doing there?
Yeah. Oh my God. I was thinking about Baldy. You know Baldy.
Baldy.
Like
Is that your imaginary friend?
no. It would be horrible if that was my imaginary friend.
Is Isabella our imaginary friend?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Am I imaginary, guys?
It disappears.
How dare you?
Let's continue on.
Yeah.
I would hear footsteps walking by my room in the middle of the night. I thought it was my dad walking into the bathroom, as it's right next to my room. But as I got up to see who it was, the bathroom door was open and the light off. I checked my parents' room and both were in bed. I'm 20 now and still living with my parents as I'm going to a local college. Just about a year ago, he showed back up. It was in the morning around dawn. I heard my door open. I thought it might have been my dad or something, but he would usually shut the door once he saw I was still asleep. When I noticed the door wasn't shut, I woke up and turned to see a silhouette of a man looking throughout the crack of the door. At first, I thought it was my dad and asked if it was him, but I didn't get a reply. It wasn't my dad. It was Mr. Man. This time, he had a hat on. I know it was him because I noticed the big ears and eyes. He just stayed there looking at me for a good 5 minutes. I remember when I noticed, I said, "Been a while, mister." And this was the first time I heard him speak. I remember he smirked and said, "It has, hasn't it?" His voice was deep and low, like James Earl Jones. Then the door slammed and he was gone. Weird stuff still happens all the time. My dad is just now starting to admit something weird's happening. Just last week, we talked about it, and he said he used to hear whispering at night and footsteps.
See, I don't think that's an imaginary friend right there. That's a
Yeah,
whole
he's
ghost.
been following her since like basically your whole life.
That's a
you
whole
know.
ghost.
And that kind of reminds me, like back when I was a kid, like I was walking past my bathroom and I saw like the same kind of like imaginary figure like in like the corner of my shower, and I'm like, nah, I just like sped across the hallway. Like I'm not looking at that. But like, yeah,
That's crazy.
imaginary friends, like I don't know, something's weird.
But like, if you liked hearing that story in our conversations, make sure to go check out our other episodes because they're pretty similar.
Yeah, and like, comment, and subscribe.
Remember to scream on screen.
Remember to scream for help, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.